Okay, so I finally got around to finishing the latest season of Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, but boy, do I got a lot to say regarding this season of Attack on Titan. Where does it stand in comparison to the previous seasons, and all around how good was it, and what did it do for the franchise and the series as a whole, the story. There's so much to say, so without further ado, I guess let's not hold this bad boy up. Let's jump into that Attack on Titan. Yes, people, greatness anime.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
Okay, so for starters, if I wanted to break down Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 into a couple different sections, I could say probably the first half was mainly, or even a little more, probably 60 to 70% of the season was the major battle of all of the scouts versus the Ape Titan, the Beast Titan, and the Armored and Colossal Titan. That's the first half, and then the second half is just all of the answers that we got, the revelation of what's in the basement, what did it bring forth, and just wrapping the whole thing up. So it was definitely broken down, in my opinion, into two different sections. But man, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't want to waste you guys' time with like, oh, wait till the end to hear what I think overall, because you will see as I continue to talk why I feel that hands down it's crazy, because majority of series as they continue, they get worse in a way, or they're not as good as the beginning or whatever. This was hands down the best season, the best parts of Attack on Titan, period. And that's a very tall order, because Attack on Titan, that season 1 was phenomenal, incredible. It broke the mold. People were calling it a once in a decade anime, but somehow between the source material and of course Studio Wit's absolute talent bringing this to life, Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 has been absolutely just one hell of a ride, a treat, and all around just showcasing Hajime Isayama, the creator's true talent of being able to write an incredible story, because oh my gosh, there's just so much. So let's start off with round 1 of Eren versus the Colossal Titan, because it kind of picks up from where the last one left off. They're in the midst of a battle against these people, or actually I believe right before the fight kicks off, they go of course into Wall Maria. They're trying to recapture certain aspects of the wall so that they could get, you know, further into the information of, hey, what's in the basement. And of course there's a big plot that was set forth from Reiner, Bertolt, and the Beast Titan, and the way this season showed, it was so much character development for everyone around. I think almost every character had a major development, whether it was Bertolt, Reiner, well, Reiner kind of had some, but Bertolt, Arman, a lot of these characters had huge growth, and it was showcased through and through. Because so when we start off, obviously the battle kicks off, there's kind of like, I would argue, like part 1 or the first battle against the Colossal Titan, because it's like just an all-out brawl in the beginning. We got on one hand, the other side of the wall, Levi, Erwin, and them getting basically slaughtered by the Beast Titan throwing them boulders, and then on the other side we got the Colossal Titan that, you know, was very nicely crafted, Reiner and Bertolt's plan and whatnot, showing that, you know, they're really with their convictions through and through. No matter what, they stuck to it. And I mean, let's start off talking with Eren trying to stop the Colossal Titan Bertolt. When he jumps in and grabs his leg, and Eren basically goes flying into the wall. You could definitely say that for a decent amount of the season, Eren was out of commission, at the very least a few episodes, because once the Colossal Titan launches him into the wall, he's kind of knocked out for a good grip, and it shows that was kind of like round 1. And if you notice as well, Eren has kind of fought, I believe, all of the major Titans so far. I don't think he went up against the Beast Titan yet, but we've seen that he went up against Reiner, he went up against Annie, he went up against Bertolt, and yeah, he kind of got owned in the beginning. And definitely it was a coming of age for Eren as well throughout this season. Starting off, I mean, granted it wasn't completely focused in on him. I think the later half of this season is where it really started to get into the meat of, you know, what's going on with Eren and the developments of his father. But, you know, the battle against Bertolt and whatnot, it was definitely showcasing that they needed to be strategic. A lot of people were losing their cool, like Arman. One of the things is this season showed Arman's growth dramatically, where he starts off that there's a certain point in the series or in the season that he's like, yo, I don't know what to do. He entrusts John, out of all people, John, to lead the way. And as the season progresses, you see it goes from that to making the ultimate sacrifice, because this season, again, it was like a fight for freedom. It was everything, all or nothing, essentially. And it showed that when push came to shove, who was going to rise to the occasion and who was going to cower up. And I was honestly like, wow, the fact of the way these characters were written, that Nobody really, like, yeah, okay, you could argue there was a little buckling, but when push came to shove, these people were willing to give their lives, every single one of them, and it was insane. And of course, one of the biggest things of the season, which again, we got a lot to talk about, but let's talk about Arman right now. Let's focus in on what his character went through throughout all of this. Arman, he's, again, started off, he's asking John for help, and it's like seeing his growth is incredible, because once it gets to the point of, okay, the only way we could defeat the Colossal is me and Eren gotta go, and to show that he grew so much to the point where he knew we're in a dangerous situation. When you get put in an environment such as the way, the one that they're in, you can't stick to your guns forever. One of the things, Arman never lied to Eren, and he knew that that was a weapon he needed to use in order to finish the Colossal Titan off, because had he not made that sacrifice and stood there holding on for dear life, which, oh my gosh, it was so nerve-wracking. I was like, what's going on? This is crazy. No. Had he not made that sacrifice, things would have never progressed. They would have never been able to, defeat these people. So the fact that he was willing to give his life, willing to lie to his friend, it showed that, again, sometimes you have to adapt to your environment. And Arman did just that. I mean, from the time of the very beginning of it, he kind of had his head together. Things went in disarray. He trusted John. Afterwards, once it was like, yo, you gotta lead us, bro. Like, you need to come up with a plan. And he started calculating and stuff. It was really, if anything, I would argue a big central part of this season in general was Arman's growth. Seeing that he needed to become a leader. He needed to step it up. And yeah, he made his mistakes in the beginning of the season. Yeah, he was not confident in his ability, but eventually he prevailed. And when it went to the point of like, yo, he died almost, essentially. Pretty much was about to be died. He got cooked up trying to secure the mission. I think that's what shows the difference between him and Erwin. Erwin, jumping to him, he showed in this season that, and it was really, really powerful, I'm not gonna lie. He was selfish. He lied, and he was basically almost, you could argue, a devil. He lied to people. So many lives were lost because he was like, yo, we got to do this for the people. And while he was inspiring people with these words of like, yo, this is for humanity's advancement, we need to do this for the people, he was really selfish the whole time. Deep beneath it all, it was that he wanted to know if he was right, what was in the basement and stuff like that. So it shows the difference between the past, our predecessors of leaders like Erwin, that he was willing to do whatever it took, but he was selfish for it, where we got Arman, who was selfless. And that's why I think when push came to shove and that big scene went down of, them having to decide who is going to survive, based on Erwin being almost dead and Arman being almost dead, that was the reason why, one of the main reasons why it had to be a passing of the torch. Erwin, he was a devil, not by choice if you think about it, because again, it shows the impact that these circumstances and the environment had on these characters. While the environment made Erwin go down a dark road, of course, it was also due to his own selfish motives about, his dream of him and his father or whatever. It pushed him to be a devil, while the environment pushed Arman to be an incredible leader that is selfless and is willing to give his life for his friends and for the sake of humanity. And let's talk about that scene, because hands down, we need a Mikasa Appreciation Day, okay? That scene was probably one of the best ones. Honestly, throughout the entire season, my favorite scene in general, Mikasa screaming there in agony regarding Arman, regarding Eren, regarding the situation. And on top of that, though, when she went up against Levi, when she jumped on him and even thought, yo, he's tired right now, I could probably force the serum out of his hands. I was like, oh my gosh, if this doesn't mark Mikasa as one of the most ride-or-die chicks in anime history, I don't know what will, because when I saw her, I was just like, yo, she don't give a shit right now, this is crazy. And it's mainly like, you could argue, okay, Arman did that for, his friends, but for the future of humanity. Mikasa's like, no, I'm doing this for my Eren-kun. Like, yo, this is what Eren wants. He wants Arman. We're going to do it. So that scene right there, very intense. That it shows, once again, that even when you have a battle outward, sometimes there's also an internal struggle. And they had to kind of come to grips with that reality. So that scene in general, hands down, probably the best of the entire season. Between Mikasa jumping on Levi, trying to hold him down, them making that decision on basically who's gonna die and who's gonna live. Eren there crying and trying to reason with Levi. The whole scenario in general was just absolutely incredible. That was one of the scenes alone that stole it from me and made me say, hands down, best season of Attack on Titan, best episodes of Attack on Titan, period. This really marked an incredible moment. And I don't want to forget about Reiner, because even though Reiner wasn't the central piece of this part of Season 3, I think he was more so a focal point of last season. He still was pretty pivotal. They still had to use the lightning spears to take him down. But honestly, Reiner didn't have that much of an epic, moment or epic I don't know, passing throughout this season. Simply, well, not passing, he's not dead, obviously, but he was more so just like a back burner thing to pushing Bertolt to the forefront, because this is where Bertolt's character, like I talked about earlier, the development of these characters, this is where Bertolt had to step it up. This is where Bertolt finally had to show, you know, I made these convictions a long time ago and I gotta stick to them. When Arman tried to trick Bertolt and said, like, yo, you know, if you don't stop it, we're gonna have to keep on torturing Annie, and he said, what, you thought that was gonna throw me off? I'm done with that already. So that showed that even regardless, for better or worse, regardless of where he resided on the line of good and evil, he stuck to his convictions in the end. He was no longer going to backtrack. I mean, it was interesting in the end that despite it all, Bertolt once again begged for his life when Arman, you know, turned into a Titan and started eating him. But it just showed even the advancement of Bertolt and who he was. If he was going to go out with a bang, at the very least, it showed that he grew from being the complete sniveling coward. I mean, yeah, if some monster is about to eat you alive, I'm sure anybody would start screaming. I mean, you got to be like, you know, out of your mind to not be screaming when a monster is eating you. But again, it was great development even for the bad guys. And I mean, that's another big thing, which is why I feel this season was so strong, because it gave us so much plot development, so much surprises, plot twists and everything. Arman becoming the Colossal Titan. Wow, you know what I mean? Like, you never would have seen that coming, first of all, but it's also very ironic. The most timid and shy, similar to, I guess, Bertolt being the Colossal Titan, is the one that becomes the biggest Titan of them all. And, you know, when he went into that small Titan form at first and ate Bertolt, it was just very powerful. It was very powerful, showcasing these two people, the most timid of them all, having a battle, and both of them having to outgrow that kiddish nature, outgrow who they once were, and again, adapt to their environment, their circumstances, and what they are fighting for. While Bertolt was fighting for whatever the heck it is, you know, just basically wanting to wipe out humanity, Arman was fighting for his people and for humanity to see another day. So they both rose to the occasion, and it was just great character development all around. Tragic, you know, at the end of the day, you got to think, a lot of these people were suffering seeing this. Like, Bertolt was once one of them, but nevertheless, when Arman ate Bertolt and he was chosen to become a Titan, whatever, very, very powerful stuff. I can't stress enough that scene with Mikasa, Arman, Eren, all of the people trying to rally up right there, like, yo, no, this one should be alive, you know, it's Erwin. My opinion, honestly, if it was up to me, I probably would have stuck with Erwin, just because, yeah, he is kind of a devil. He sent a lot of people to their grave, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Erwin. But at the end of the day, he was a leader that needed to go on. But the problem with that is, at the end of the day, you got to think, he was forced into this role in a way. Humanity needed somebody to lean on, and the best way that he could continue to keep things going was to be that guy. Granted, he wasn't doing it for humanity's advancement. He was doing it for selfish purposes, but he did advance humanity to this point to be able to take these people on. Who knows if Erwin wasn't around and did what he did, where we would be at right now. We may have been completely demolished, Erwin would have been taken away, and that would have been that. But even seeing that, at the very end, Erwin finally decided, you know what? Despite me having my dreams, I made so many people die going into battles that we knew they were going to all die. Let me go on this suicide mission and let me do one thing finally, not for my own motives, but for humanity. So when he charged in there and rallied everyone up, granted, it's like, yo, this is so sad because they all know they're going to their death. The Beast Titan is just baseball pitching giant boulders at them. It was showing Erwin's character development as well, that he was finally saying, at the very least this time, even though it sucks, I'm not going to be able to see my goal to the end, I'm not going to be able to see my dream, but I need to do something for humanity. So that was very powerful as well. Very nice wrap up for the character Erwin, even when he slapped the serum out of Levi's hand and was like, basically, nah, you know, it was time. He knew, like, he wanted to already escape that, because you got to think, Erwin, he wasn't necessarily evil. He was doing things with a selfish goal, but was still moving the goal along for humanity at the same time. And when Levi said, like, yo, he was a devil that was forced into that position, and we was about to drag him back into this. Ooh, just talking about it is giving me chills. Like, great character development just, again, for Erwin. But, you know, MVP regarding action of this whole season, Levi, hands down. Levi, when Erwin and all of them sacrificed himself and he went against the Beast Titan, I was like, yeah, oh my god. I mean, he was ruthless. He went in on the Beast Titan. He put his sword in his mouth and was like, yo, you want to talk, huh? Come on, say something. That was freaking insane, and it showed once again that Levi was one to be feared. Levi ain't no joke. So that scene, absolutely, hands down, best fight probably of all of Attack on Titan. Most vicious, most brutal. And it sucked that he wasn't able to get the job done because the Cart Titan jumps in at the same time. But it also showed how much of a badass Levi is. I mean, I don't think we needed to know any more of that, but it was incredible and amazing to see that even after the Beast Titan gets away, he's like, you think it's over? And then he just starts killing all the other Titans to go back and try and have another 1v1 versus the Beast Titan. Like, Levi throughout this season, once again, incredible, amazing. The way Reiner went out, if it was any of how things ended throughout all of this, like the Beast Titan being defeated by Levi, that was incredible. Bertolt being eaten by Arman and, you know, stepping it up at the very end and finally saying, I'm evil, basically. You know, I want to destroy and kill all of you guys. Great. I think the way Reiner went out in a way was kind of like, because he was basically laid down, knocked out for an ill minute because of the lightning spears. Granted, it was incredible and amazing. Not coming at it at all because this whole season was just very freaking like 10 out of 10 type of status. But Reiner probably had the least, I want to say, and it's not a farewell because there's still more. Obviously, he was rescued at the very end, but the way he kind of went down and whatnot was like he got hit with lightning spears. It was epic, don't get me wrong, and the way they planned and stuff like that, great writing all around. I just felt like maybe Reiner should have had a bigger send-off than how it was, because again, he was laid out on his back for a good chunk of, you know, after he got knocked the hell down. And I guess it was more so to give Bertolt room to kind of be a leader, and he was like, you know, you had to go and say, yo, just lay on your back so that way you could heal and stuff like that, and they can't get to you or whatever. So it was, I guess, Reiner being down and not having those big moments was for Bertolt to be able to step up. So in that aspect, okay, I get it, but I wish Reiner would have just had like one more. Maybe that's just me or whatever, because, you know, last season he did have a big fight against, what was it, against Eren? But I would have liked at least one more. Was it last season? I don't know, but I would have liked at least one more big major thing. It was kind of like the scouts was on his ass and those lightning spears was not letting off for a moment. And that was honestly the bulk of the first half of the season, 60%, 70% of the season. That incredible battle on both sides of where they lost everyone but 9 people. I believe it was 9 people that they had remaining, which is like, okay, where do you go from here? I mean, there's more obviously people that work for the scouts or whatever, you know, the whole organization back at home, but nonetheless, they lost so many casualties. So in essence, if you think about it, a lot of it feels like a Pyrrhic victory. Reiner got away thanks to Hanji and John's decision or whatever. Well, it was Hanji that made the ultimate decision, but you know, Reiner gets away. Beast Titan, the most dangerous of them all, got away along with the Cart Titan, but they got Bertolt. But getting Bertolt and the Colossal Titan powers at the cost of everyone but 9 people, very, very big sacrifice. So again, yeah, it's a Pyrrhic victory. You know, it's like you won something, but the cost was so major. It's like, whoa. And leading into that, again, the whole premise of this, I feel as though this season was really to showcase the price of freedom is a very, very, very high cost. Sometimes you don't want to, you know, in retrospect, pay. Because when we get to the second half of the season, when we start understanding what's in the basement, that it started off with a photograph, which they didn't have photos at this particular point because they're so technologically backwards within the walls. Seeing this photograph, getting to understand everything of what led to this point, that there's people on the other side of the walls. Across an ocean, there's people, they're living a good life, and basically it starts introducing more into the Eldians and how things is really wrong. Basically the segregation. There's just so much to this plot that I obviously could spend all day explaining it to you. I'd much rather you, if you're an Attack on Titan fan, go watch it so you can see for yourself. But just diving into, not only are we finishing some incredible stuff, incredible battles, people falling and whatnot, but then also getting major setup for the future. Now that there's a war brewing essentially against people, not just Titans, across another ocean on the other side of the walls. So getting into Grisha's past and everything, finally understanding what was in the basement all this time, the story, the truth of everything. That was freaking insane, because that was an end goal from the beginning of the series. It shows that, yeah, not only do we only have one more season, but majority of the questions that we've had from episode 1 of Attack on Titan have been answered. Who are the Colossal Titan and Armor Titan? That was answered in season 2. What was in the basement? That was answered. Who was gonna fall? Like, so many questions were answered with this season, and that's why, again, I put it at the forefront of hands down best season of Attack on Titan. And it was, again, the part 2 that really solidified it for me. But nonetheless, that part 2 of that season just, it blew me away. Can't forget to note the Beast Titan, his vow to save Eren and saying what his father has done to them. So freaking insane. Just everything that was set up. Okay, there's going to be another round and whatnot. And it shows Eren's progression when we start getting him having the memories and the flashbacks of what happened, the owl and everything. Grisha had it hard. And it's so ironic that the Titan that ate Eren's mother was actually basically it would be what, like his stepmom, but basically it was his father's previous wife. So everything connecting is like Isayama must have had this planned out. There's no way that he didn't have all this planned out, because it works out so freaking well. And I mean, that scene where Grisha's talking with Al, which insane. You got to think, this is very, very graphic and very brutal. The fact that Al went all these years, you know, the Al, pretty much chopping Eldian fingers off, turning people into Titans, showcasing that whoever these people are, that, you know, these other sign that they hate the Eldians or whatever, they're heartless and ruthless. It really shows that they have all this hatred towards the people of Ymir, because you squirt a little bit of that Titan serum from their spine into them and they become Titans. So they really have this hatred towards them, and essentially the curse of Ymir. It's really, really freaking interesting, to say the least. I'll leave it at that. And then of course the ending, the promise that Arman and Eren had made from the very beginning, that they wanted to go out and see the ocean, to finally see, you know, a year pass, time skip, characters looking cool, whatever, Eren looking dope, Mikasa looking dope, a little bit older. I just love their relationship. I wish that, you know, because now we found out they only got 13 years to live, the Titans, and Eren has about 8, Armin has 13. You can tell that broke Mikasa down. So I'm looking forward to seeing a year later, because we did have a time skip, what is Mikasa going to do with now knowing that, yo, Eren's not going to be around. We're not going to have that happy ending of having a child or whatever. But theory time, and again, I'm not caught up with the manga. I don't know what happens. You know, I'm a little bit distanced from where the anime ended off, but Eren maybe dies and the Titan power gets passed to a pregnant Mikasa. Again, I don't know if Mikasa and Eren have a baby. I have no idea, so this is not spoilers, but those are some theories that I'm throwing out there, because it was very odd when Mikasa being depressed and them talking about what happens when these Titan holders, Titan shifters die, that it gets passed to a nearby Ymir baby, and that could work. And them reaching the ocean, it gave me a vibe of the end of Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm not gonna lie, but then it gave the dark twist that it shows where Eren's at right now, and how what his father felt and what his father went through. You know, his father losing his sister, they fed her to dogs. Like, these people are disgusting. Eren, he wanted to see the ocean for so long, and while Armin was happy, everybody was just like, yo, I can't believe it. Eren is now like, cool water, bro, cool beans. So we gotta kill those people over there so we can really be free. That's the last end goal. That was a very dark turn for his character. I think the hatred and everything of seeing, like, even what the king did, if you think about it, it's really like, they're in a bad situation. It can be a wrap for their people, because at this point they've lost so many. Don't get me wrong, they finally got rid of the Titan problem within the walls and outside of the walls or whatever, but now they gotta face God knows what on the other side of the ocean, with all these people that absolutely have no heart. Again, look what Grisha's life, Grisha's wife, all the Eldians, time and time again. It shows that we're going for a dark twist right now with Eren's character. You would think just when they finally been liberated from what was containing them in these walls so long, to find out that there's even another threat across the pond, it shows Eren's character is going a very dark route. But honestly, hands down, this season of Attack on Titan, not only best season of Attack on Titan, but this shows that Attack on Titan is a higher level of writing, a higher quality of a series. Like, of course, we got animation and art checked off time and time again of how beautiful and amazing the series looked. Every scene was just like flat out, whoa. But it also shows again that this is a very sophisticated written series. And I don't want to say like, oh my god, it's the most deepest and complex ever, but just the political aspects of like the king and the what he did and why people get, you know, possessed by his ideals when they get the royal power. And even Eren right now, because now going into season 4, he has a lot on his mind. So we got whole other enemies across this ocean. We have a king that basically screwed us all over. And now the knowledge that he has, that basically Historia is a big key to him being able to use that Titan controlling power or whatever. But if he told the military, who knows what they would do. A lot is weighing on his shoulders right now. The fact that he knows he only has like, what, 7 years at this point left after another year time skip to live. It's really going a very, very dark route. And you would think how much more darker it could get. Like, people going on suicide missions, Bertolt being eaten by Armin, Armin being fried up, Erwin dying, like so much casualties. But it's getting even darker, and that's why Attack on Titan, hands down, Season 3 Part 2, best season of the series by far, which it's crazy again, because not many series you can say that as it continues it gets better, but it did. It was by far best season, but also... and I've talked about a few other anime, but in the running for best anime of 2019, hands down. Like, I don't know, like looking at what it did, how much it accomplished, how much progression we got, how many plot twists, how many incredible moments in general. Attack on Titan, I think it's going to go down as one of those series that people are going to look back and call a masterpiece, because it just, you could argue maybe some of the early Kenny Ackerman stuff was not the greatest, but aside from that, Attack on Titan, all across the board, it's just been an incredibly written series. Like, it feels it should be a seinen, even though it's technically a shonen, but that's how damn good it is. And I'm not even just talking about, oh, the epic fight scenes or whatever, the emotional stuff, the way it's written, adding political aspects and them trying to figure things out, and the fact that we get dark shit, things get dark, and the characters are getting even darker now. Mikasa having to accept the man that she's in love with will die within a certain amount of time. Arman now, even though he survived, it's only to die in 13 more years later. So many epic things. Absolutely incredible. I highly recommend, if you dropped Attack on Titan at some given point, go watch it. And you need to understand things, so I won't say skip to season 3 part 2. Watch it all the way through. This was, wow. This is high level writing, high level quality anime, and people that is like, oh, you know, I'm sick of the shonen this and that. This breaks everything and shows that you can be in a shonen series, you can write a shonen series, but mask it, I guess, with seinen elements and make it a great thing. And Attack on Titan season 3 part 2, absolutely flawless and amazing. Kind of curious what you guys think about it though. Best moment of the season, which one was your favorite? There's just so many to choose. Arman's sacrifice, Arman becoming the Colossal Titan, Levi versus the Beast Titan, just so many moments, finally finding out what's in the basement. This is why this series is so damn good. This is why the hype train for Attack on Titan is well deserved. Yeah, we had a couple of slow seasons in between the first and this one, but I can't stress enough, this was freaking amazing. And your overall thoughts, expectations, and predictions for season 4. How do you think it's going to go now that we got to fight these people again? We're probably going to have another bout with Reiner, right? Because he survived. We got the Beast Titan in the wings. What do you think the Beast Titan meant that he wants to save Eren? If we get this history that the Eldians were basically like, you know, they've been oppressed all this time. They've been tortured. They've been segregated. Everything that you could think of that happened to them. Why is it that, you know, this traitor at that he betrayed all these people? Why would he feel as though they're bad? Is it simply an ideology that the people of Ymir are wrong for having a bloodline? Like, what is your thoughts on all of this, and where do you see the series going? I'm not gonna lie, I put down Attack on Titan for a little bit. Coming back to it, it was one of the best things that I did, taking a break, because it really reminded me of what an incredible piece of art this series is. I can't freaking wait for season 4. I can't stress enough. Go watch it. If you love Attack on Titan, maybe season 2 or season 3 part 1 wasn't the greatest for you. Season 3 part 2 better than all of it combined. It is that damn good. But that's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, baby.
Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride. But I hope you